Build Your Business listeners. This is Matt Reynolds, your host for the podcast, and you are listening to what we are calling the legacy episodes. And really, these are the pre-episodes that really led to this podcast, the Build Your Business podcast. This is really my life's work and my brother's life's work in building your business. And so they were originally published in the Barbell Logic podcast as part of the Principles or Coaching Success series, but really touch on similar topics to the Build Your Business podcast: how to improve your productivity, how to set and accomplish your goals, deprioritize urgent tasks, to focus on what is most important to you, and most importantly, to become a better person and leader and business owner overall. I'm proud to bring you these podcasts. Again, many years of life's work, several years of podcasts, and several decades of business ownership. Hope you enjoy them and learn from them. You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show. You're listening to a Coaching Success episode on the Barbell Logic podcast. I'm your host, Matt Reynolds, here again on a Friday. I hope you guys had a great week. Last week, we got to talk about why online coaching is better than in-person coaching. Today, I want to kind of continue that a little bit and really focus today on why PRs matter. I don't think people actually think about this enough, and I think the way they think about PRs is often incorrect, right? And so a lot of times when we think about PRs, or what some people call PBs, I've noticed my UK clients call them PBs, personal bests. We call them PRs, personal records. They very much matter. And for most people, and specifically with in-person coaching, you're often programming your clients maybe on an actual written notebook. And so it's very difficult to keep PRs, like all of the PRs, right? So maybe you know, and maybe you track someone's 1 rep max in, certainly you probably do, in all the main lifts. Maybe you do their 3 rep max or their 5 rep max or their 3 sets of 5, and you can kind of see linear progression, those sorts of things. The original reason, I don't know if you guys know the kind of birth story of TurnKey Coach, the reason we moved away from the third-party software was because it didn't auto-track or auto-collect metrics, and metrics matter to people, right? Like, even if they're not really somebody that seems like they chase numbers. I've talked about this before. I like to gamify everything with my Apple Watch. I'm always tracking my workouts and riding my bike and making sure I look at my steps every day. And even if that's not you, you'll find that people actually really love to know when they're making visible, quantifiable progress. And so the primary reason that we developed TurnKey Coach, again, which wasn't supposed to go to the outside world, we were never going to license that out. It was just for us. It was so we could auto-track metrics, because it was such a pain to collect metrics on these other third-party softwares. You actually had to go in and manually enter in when they hit a PR. If you didn't do it, you forgot, it didn't track it, right? And so you might track their main lift PRs, again, 1 rep max, 3 rep max, 5 rep max, maybe 3 sets of 5. Maybe you'd collect chin-ups or, one of those things or whatever. The thing I love about TurnKey Coach is that it auto-collects every single metric of every single lift, every set and rep scheme, every single weight, the load on the bar. But not only that, we have all these other metrics too. I mean, we can collect anything. We can collect waist and weight and protein servings per day and macros and sleep quality and perceived fatigue and how hard the workout was, right? So kind of an RPE overall, like how difficult was the workout. We can do any of those things. And as a coach for TurnKey Coach, if you have an account with us, you can actually create your own, right? So if there's certain lifts that we don't have in our library, you can add those to your library. If there's certain metrics that we don't collect, you can add those to your metrics. It's actually really, really nice. Each client has a dashboard where you can pull up all of their PRs. So I can see literally every set and rep scheme and every weight that a client has on, say, a squat or say a barbell curl. So what you'll find is that when the client actually does a workout in TurnKey Coach and they hit a PR, maybe it's not been a great day. Maybe they haven't hit PRs on the main lifts. And then they come and they do their accessory lifts and they hit a dumbbell curl PR, or they hit a rolling dumbbell extension PR, they hit a chin up PR. the app immediately tells them, congratulations, you just hit a PR on this. And they would have never known because how many of us track our dumbbell curl PR? How many of us track our row PR? Things like that. And so every single set of every single rep or every set and rep scheme, every load for every exercise is auto-tracked in the app. And those metrics matter for both the client and the coach because it lets us know, it gives us a clear visual representation. We can clearly see that the client is making progress, right? And so one of the things for me, like I'm nutrition coaching now, I've done nutrition coaching. I've got a bunch of my clients who are doing nutrition. By the way, I just hit 235 yesterday. I'm down 63 pounds. I'm passionate about nutrition right now. And so I've got clients who are trying to lose weight. And we know as they lose weight, for me, I'll just, again, tell a quick personal anecdote. My strength has stayed pretty good through most of my weight loss. And the last 10 pounds, it has sort of tanked. I mean, I'm feeling it. The difference between me at 245 and me at 235, it's like, oof, it's going to take a little bit. And I don't have too much more to go. I don't have a specific goal in mind of exactly how much weight I want to lose. And I'm kind of watching my waist, and my waist is down, I think 11 inches, which is obviously significant. And so my leverages have changed. And so I can start looking at PRs at a lighter body weight, or I can look at PRs over 40, or I can look all of those things. We can track those things. So for me, my strength has kind of tanked a little bit over the last, say, month to 6 weeks, somewhere in that ballpark. For my clients who are trying to lose weight, one of the things that we're doing is we're trying to make sure that we maintain strength as best we can and still get the little dopamine rush of hitting little PRs along the way. And again, maybe that's not a 3 sets of 5 PR or 5 rep max PR. Maybe it's a 3 sets of 8 PR on something, or certainly body weight PRs. I'm hitting body weight PRs like crazy on things like chins and dips, because you imagine how much easier it is to do things like chins and dips when you weigh 63 pounds less. It's a lot less weight to push, or push-ups, or, glute ham raises I can knock out all day because I have so much less belly and torso kind of hanging over the pad of the glute ham bench. And so all of these things actually really, really matter because it continues to help with the accountability factor and the consistency factor for your clients. Again, probably said this on almost every single episode. The things that matter the most to the client is not the program. The things that matter the most are technique and consistency. So I'm providing technique feedback within 24 hours every single day to all of my clients, automatic screen recording that's built directly in to the TurnKey Coach app. But on top of that, because they get that little dopamine hit, even when they feel like, oh, I didn't do very well in the press today or the bench press today or whatever the lift is, I can still see that I hit PRs in some of these other lifts. They can see that they're still making progress. And when they see that they make progress, that little dopamine rush that they get keeps them moving in that direction, right? Likewise, we can check. I can say, look, you didn't hit PRs, but you're maintaining your strength. But look, your waist came down another 1/4 of an inch. You lost another pound, if that's the goal, right? And so we're not losing too fast. We're not losing too slow. We're losing just right, but we're also maintaining our strength. And so that's why these metrics and PRs matter so much to us. The driving factor of everything we do is PRs. We just have to get out of the mindset that PRs always mean load on the bar. It doesn't. It doesn't always mean load on the bar. PRs could be consistency. You can track metrics consistency. Andrew made a great change a few months ago. We could always see the consistency of our clients, 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, and even lifetime for our clients. And we started sharing that information with the clients. So every day when they complete a workout, it changes okay, what is my 7-day compliance? What's my 30-day? What's my 90-day? It's amazing how much a client, if they miss a workout or they have to push a workout back a day, they're like, oh, coach, will you please slide the workout forward a day because I don't want to get docked? Or maybe they like doing conditioning on the weekends. And so I'll put something in and say hey, just tell me what you did for conditioning on Saturday. And then they don't do their conditioning and they don't want to get knocked for consistency. So I can pull that workout away because it's not a main workout for them, so that it doesn't hurt their consistency numbers. And so that's why these metrics matter. And what's beautiful about it is it takes zero work from the coach. I never have to track that stuff. It's automatically in there. When a client completes a workout, not only does it record their PRs, it also records it in a line graph. And so I can open up, let's look at your PR and the line graph of your PRs, but I can also look at a line graph of recent history. So if someone is coming back from, say, an injury or layoff or something like that, and I can look at their squat and say, okay, you're 87%, 13% away, you're 87% of your PR. But we can look at recent history over the last several weeks. You're continuing to make progress. So then we can sort of calculate out, okay, in another 3 weeks, in another 4 weeks, whatever, you're going to be hitting all-time PRs again. And so let's just stay the course. You're doing great. Let's just keep adding a little weight and we'll do just fine. Or for people who they just can't put weight on the bar for a reason right now. And, Nikki talks about this a lot, what she's done over the last several years, and she's starting to put weight on the bar again because she's beefing up, right? Again, right now. But you start to look at volume. You can look at tonnage, like it collects tonnage on every single workout. So we can actually watch the tonnage number go up. We can watch the volume go up. We can hit PRs with reps. So somebody can come in and they can squat, 275. I've been using lately with a handful of my clients, my version of a 5-3-1, which for those of you guys that don't know, that first set is an AMRAP set. So the first week is a set of 5 plus. And so you set them around their 5 rep max, somewhere around their 5 rep max, depending on how strong they are at the moment. And they try to get it for 6 or 7 or 8, somewhere in there. And so they'll hit a new 7 rep max. Well, that's not something that you're going to typically collect. And now you can see like, oh, I squatted 315 for 7. Like that's fantastic. And the next week you do the same thing with 3. They hit 3 plus. And so they got to hit 3. That's the goal. But if they can hit 4 or 5, that's even better. And then the third week they hit 1 plus. So they can either hit a new 1 rep max, or you take a number that's close to their 1 rep max, and maybe they try it for a double, and they often get that. And then you go, oh, this is incredible. So you don't often collect 2 rep maxes, like if you were manually doing this, or 7 rep maxes, or, whatever that is. And so I love that about TurnKey Coach. That was the very first thing we did. And the very first thing that I told our dev team, that in order for us to switch from a third-party software to our own software, the main thing we need, the primary difference that we need between us and them is an auto collection of metrics, because we know the metrics matter for the client and the coach. Those PRs matter because they really help lead towards consistency and accountability so that the client can see that they're moving in the right direction. Listen, if you're a coach, and it is easy through TurnKey Coach to have 35 or 40 or 45 or 50 clients, you cannot keep all that bandwidth in your head and remember everybody's PRs. So it's beautiful when you open up their workout and it immediately tells you, you don't even have to go to a different page. Like it tells you on the workout what PRs they hit, the graphs are there. You can look at it instantly and remember exactly where they are based on the data that it's giving you. And so these PRs matter. So I would say, again, this is really an impossibility at the level that we collected at TurnKey Coach compared to in-person coaching. There's just no way. I went back, and I still do this every once in a while. I look at my original workout log when I first got into powerlifting, and this is like in 1998. And I'll go back and look at like my box squat PRs and my, I started doing West Side style training. So obviously all the main lift PRs, but also the supplemental lift PRs. I'll look at my box squat PRs and my 2 board press PRs and things like that. I'll look at those things. But, I wasn't keeping chin up PRs. I wasn't keeping rolling dumbbell extension PRs. I wasn't keeping curl PRs. And it's like, maybe you keep it, maybe if you've ever competed in whatever it's called, where they actually compete in the standing curl where you put your back against the wall. And maybe the most weight you've ever curled, but you probably don't know like your set and rep scheme or tonnage PRs of what you've done on a dumbbell curl. I'm doing dumbbell curls with 35 pounds, 35-pound dumbbells or 40-pound dumbbells or whatever. You don't know what your PRs are. Getting that feedback continues to drive people, make sure the ship is pointed in the right direction. But it also tells you if it's not. And so rarely do we have to turn the ship 90 degrees or 180 degrees or even 20 degrees. We often have to, those metrics that it collects often tells us we need to re-aim the ship 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees in a different direction to make sure we can continue to pursue PRs. And so that idea, that old idea of novices hit PRs every single workout, which is true, and intermediates hit PRs every once a week to once a month, and advanced lifters only hit PRs, say, once every 2 to 3 to 4 months, is actually just wrong. Now, if it's 1 rep maxes of the main lifts, that's actually correct, if that's the thing that you're actually aiming to do. So those PRs matter. I remember when I first started Strong Gym, we really wrote kind of a manifesto, like kind of core values of what we believed. And that We talked about the PR being the focus of everything we do. And it wasn't just those 1 rep maxes or those 3 rep maxes or those 5 rep maxes, but it was all the PRs. And I really didn't even understand it then like I do now, that it's all about hitting PRs every day or hitting PRs every workout. And there are still workouts that you don't hit PRs, especially if you're coming back from a layoff. I just had a client with COVID, right? And so we just backed him off on everything. So there's no PRs, but we can still then look at the recent history and see that he's still making progress post-COVID. And you could see the first several workouts that he did post-COVID, he was like, oh, still pretty tired. My recovery sucks. Like, yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And then you can start to see 3 workouts in, 4 workouts in, 5 workouts in. The fatigue is starting to dissipate. And I can see this recent activity that he's moving back towards PR levels. And I can say, hey, listen, man, just be patient. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to start hitting PRs again. And then what he'll probably do is hit PRs on some of the smaller lifts first. And then another week or two later, he'll start hitting some PRs again on the bigger lifts. And maybe that's 5 sets of 3 on the press or whatever that thing is, right? Again, it's not a 1 rep max or 3 rep max or 5 rep max. So PRs matter. They matter to everybody, right? So the person that says, hey, I don't really care about how much I lift, and that may very well be true. They don't care how heavy their 1 rep max squat is. Andrew and Nikki have talked about this. Most of our people come in, when they fill out that questionnaire, we get a lot of middle-aged general population people. They just want to lose some fat, and they want to look better and feel better, and they do want to get stronger, and they do want to perform better, but they don't want to get stronger at all costs. And so it's not that PRs were driving and focused on hitting PRs at all costs. It's that we're actually focusing on the PRs that matter to the goal of the client. So that primary PR may literally be waist measurement. We can track that. It may literally be weight, their body weight. We can track that. It may literally be body weight exercises. It may be chins and dips and push-ups and sit-ups and glute ham raises and things like that. We can track that, right? And then we can see, depending on what their goals are, how that then affects the main lifts. And we always pretty much do the main lifts, but it doesn't mean that we're always chasing numbers on the main lifts. And we can also use that as a way to take a different set and rep scheme. So we're not just doing 3 sets of 5 or a top set of 5 and back off sets. Like maybe it's 5 sets of 2. Maybe it's a different lift. Maybe it's you start to get that dopamine hit because they've never done a box squat, or they've never done a safety squat bar squat, or they've never, like whatever that thing is. Or they start doing power cleans or whatever, and they start hitting PRs right away, and they get really excited because it's a new novel exercise for them. And so they get back to that kind of novice level of hitting PRs on that lift every single time. And so I want you to focus on the fact that PRs matter. And that as far as I know, TurnKey Coach is the only software, the only app on the planet that literally tracks every single PR of every single exercise, of every single set and rep and weight scheme across the board. And so that you can constantly program with that in mind, knowing that while the PR might not be there for the squat or the deadlift, it is there for the glute ham raise. It is there for the Romanian deadlift. It is there for the leg extension or leg curl or leg press or whatever the thing is, so that we can continue to help our clients see that we're moving them towards the goal. PRs matter. But remember, they matter to the client. So you've got to listen to the client and know what the PRs are that they're chasing, right? What is the goal? If the goal is to lose weight and to lose waist measurement and to lose body fat, they care far more about those metrics than they do about increasing their squat over time. Yes, they want to perform. Almost everybody does want to perform better, but that's not primary. So if you go to them and you say, look, we've increased your squat by 33%, but their waist grew by 2 inches, you missed the mark. So metrics matter, but you've got to figure out the metrics that matter for the client and make sure that we're moving them towards that goal. So there you go. It's been another episode of the Coaching Success Series through the Barbell Logic podcast. Hope you got value from this. If you did, we would love a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, would love for you to give me a shout out. Feel free to ask a question, shoot me an email. You can also reach out to the podcast email that's always in the show notes. And we'll continue to tackle these lessons that I've learned in business one step at a time on Fridays, while getting this fantastic podcast from Nikki and Andrew on Tuesdays for the lifter. And of course, there's a lot of crossover for those. Again, we've got a great deal right now for Coaching 101. If you're just starting to get into coaching or you're interested in getting into coaching, we now have a very simple, basic, short, cheap, but fantastic level of content that will get you started coaching right away. It also gives you access to TurnKey Coach for free in the beginning. So it's a fantastic service, and we'd love to have you take a part of that in Coaching 101. And then you can just take your time getting through things like principles or advanced if that's a direction you want to go. So check out the Academy in Coaching 101. Check out TurnKey.coach. Again, you pay nothing at TurnKey.coach until you get paid. So you don't pay us until your clients start paying, and you only pay by the number of clients that you use. Give it a whirl, man. Check it out. Check out how much it matters to track those metrics for your clients on a day in and day out basis. All right, we'll see you guys next Friday.